And there was a batch of emails released just recently that showed that Jeffrey Epstein worked closely with Israel on different military contracts, their intel agencies, Mossad, and so forth.
I've been reliably told you're anti-Semitic if you say that.
Yeah, that's like the thing, but MAGA cannot override MAGA. The only thing I want to do is get to work and pass the agenda that everybody voted for, and that's America first.
Marjorie Taylor Greene just told the cold, hard truth about Israel, Epstein, and the MAGA coalition that is being fractured over those precise issues. And in this clip with Megyn Kelly, she gets into how this is going to affect America's political future in 2026 and 2028 presidential race and beyond. So let's watch. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel.
What's going on? Because the left, if you tune in to CNN or MSNBC any day right now, they think the whole government shutdown on the Republican side is because they don't want to do any work because they don't want to have any votes on Epstein.
Right.
What do you think?
I tell you what, I've started to question, is this why we're not in session?
Really?
Yeah. This is that the discharge petition is sitting there.
Explain that.
So everyone, for how many years now, all of us have been calling to release the Epstein files. And Thomas Massie entered a resolution to release it. Yeah. And I'm a co-sponsor. I want to release the Epstein files. And it's been blocked over and over, unfortunately. And so there's a discharge petition. So just so you know, as a member of Congress, I cannot force my bills to the floor for a vote. Only the Speaker can decide to bring a bill to the floor for a vote. And so when the Speaker is refusing to bring a bill forward, if 218 members of Congress get together and all sign a discharge petition and we put our name on there, it overrides the Speaker and it's forced to the floor for a vote. So right now there's 217 signatures.
Yeah, and that's a heroic effort, by the way, by Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna to get to the bottom of this, standing with the victims of Epstein, the exact victims that he molested or played a role in defiling. They are standing with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie and Megyn Kelly. I'm sorry, if you're going to say it's the left that is saying that the government isn't opening to get votes on this Epstein issue, no, it's not the left. It's everyone that doesn't want to cover this child sex trafficking ring on behalf of the most prominent people in the world. It's not just the left. And the idea that you see the left by tuning into CNN and MSNBC is absurd on face value. She means the liberal media establishment, certainly so. But yeah, it's pretty clear why they don't want to reopen the government. That does play a role. And I guess you could steelman this by saying even when they were in session, there was a lot of pressure against this. Mike Johnson closed down the session specifically so that this issue couldn't get a vote because Massie was getting enough signatures. But at the same time, it's pretty clear that that played into it.
And there is one...
Mostly Dems.
Yeah, mostly Dems. There's only 4 Republicans: Thomas Massie, myself, Nancy Mace, and Lauren Boebert. We're the only Republicans on the discharge petition.
Heroes for standing up to this administration while it covers this up. Those 4 are. And yeah, I have a lot of issues with Nancy Mace and, Lauren Boebert on some other issues. But Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie are the best of the best when it comes to this. And it's pretty freaking insulting to the American populace that made the Epstein issue big. Like, let's get transparency on this. When you insert yourselves into power and all of a sudden it doesn't matter, we have to toe the president's line. I'm sorry, no, that's not how this should work. If you want to look past the pedophiles, I guess that's what you would do. But no, we want to get to the bottom of this. And if you're saying there's nothing there, why impede their efforts to get to the bottom of this, to release this? We all know they're in on it. It's a big club. We're not in it. They are the monsters that are.
Why are they so averse to it?
Well, there's a lot of information that's coming out of our Oversight investigation. I also serve on the Oversight Committee, so I'm involved in that investigation. And there was a batch of emails released just recently that showed that Jeffrey Epstein worked closely with Israel on different military contracts, their intel agencies, Mossad, and so forth.
I've been reliably told you're anti-Semitic if you say that.
Yeah, that's like the thing. But MAGA cannot override MAGA.
Right on. She's so based. That's so heroic to say, and she's exactly right. I'm so glad she's privy to this. But yeah, due to the heroic journalism of Ryan Grimm and Murtaza Hussain, we know more about Epstein's close workings for the Israeli government. This isn't just a conspiracy theory. It's been documented in a 3-article series that they produced. The first episode showing that Epstein had a direct role in a security agreement between the Israeli government and the government of Mongolia. We also know that he played a role in a similar security arrangement between the government of Israel and the government of the Ivory Coast. That's come out due to these leaked emails from Epstein to figures like Ehud Barak and others. We also know their latest article talks about how Epstein arranged a wire transfer to one of Israel's top spies, someone that worked for Ehud Barak, Yoni Koren, and this article details this. This just came out today. It's hot off the presses. Of course, it's being buried. But we know that due to these leaked emails, we have actual screenshots showing that Epstein and this spy shared information here, giving Epstein his bank account information to produce a wire transfer, a money transfer. And that's just the tip of the spear, man. This is just the iceberg, because we know that the Department of the Treasury is sitting on over $1 billion in wire transfer records between Epstein and people of prominence that only Ron Wyden and Marsha Blackburn and their staff members have taken a look at, but want the Senate to be able to subpoena so we know. I think if we follow the money, we'll seek the truth here. Marjorie Taylor Greene realizes that, but sadly, they might not have the votes. But what does it tell you when they're trying to cover this up by not having the votes? It's that they prioritize this child sex trafficker over the rest of us and want to bury the leads as deep as they can such that we can't get to the bottom of it and hold the people involved responsible.
And I can criticize any foreign country that I want to, because I'm an American and I have free speech.
MAGA being Make Israel Great Again.
Yes. And it's not anti-Semitic to criticize a government. It's not. And it's not anti-Semitic to talk about Jeffrey Epstein and his ties with any foreign country, whether it was Israel or the UK or the United States, or that's not anti-Semitic. And it's not hating on anyone. I certainly don't hate anyone, but I definitely am concerned about any country's, a foreign country's influence on our own, especially when it comes to members of Congress.
Absolutely, it plays into our foreign policy, domestic policy, dragging us into wars, making us support financially a genocide. We can berate individual American states if we don't like, say, their gun laws or their abortion laws. But if you criticize Israel, you're called openly an anti-Semite. That's their strategy. It's backfiring now spectacularly, I think, but she's exactly right.
You got some agreement out there. What's the number one thing you'd like to see change in the House right now? You would like to get back to work.
I want to get back to work. I want to pass the agenda that we campaigned on. I desperately want to do that. That's the only thing I want to do. Everybody's talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to do this. Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to do that. The only thing I want to do is get to work and pass the agenda that everybody voted for. And that's America first. And that is what we should be doing. No more foreign aid, no more foreign wars, no more sending your monies overseas. We need to fix our health insurance. We need to work on the cost of living. It is extremely expensive.
Yep.
And the most important thing we can do is continue to create a future for our children.
Now, not everybody believes that these are earnest goals. Your good friend AOC, oh baby girl.
Oh yeah.
She has a theory about why you're pushing in this way to improve people's lives with specific agenda items, whether they're good for everybody or just the right or just the left, what have you. Here it is in SOT 10.
Here's some tea for you. Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate. She was gearing up for that statewide race, and Trump told her no. The White House and Trump land shut down Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal ambitions to run for Senate. And she has been on a revenge tour ever since.
Confirm or deny?
Completely deny. So earlier this summer, I put out a very lengthy post on my own personal social media of the reasons why I do not want to run for Senate. And you're seeing it in real action today. Look at the Senate. It's an absolute, utter chaos. We can't even fund the government because of the Senate right now.
Well, that's the best part of the shutdown if we can't fund the government. But every time they say that, and this is Democrat or Republican, they don't mean fund the wars or the welfare state or the stuff that lines the pockets of Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and JP Morgan and Pfizer. No, keep all of that continuing. Just shut down, the public memorials, like the things that people actually do like to go to. Americans do like to partake in seeing the Washington Memorial or the Jefferson Memorial. Those are the things you shut down. Never the wars, never the welfare state. It's not really shut down. It'd be more based if it was, if you're asking me. But yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene rightly said, hey, we campaigned on America first and we're getting Israel first, essentially. That's what she said. Make Israel great again is the hallmark of this administration. It's a sad hallmark, but it just behooves us to admit that. We can't be honest with ourselves unless we admit that. Yeah, we're going to shut down the war in Ukraine day one, didn't deliver. We're going to bring transparency to the Epstein case. Not only didn't deliver, but actively covering that up. We're going to stop being other parts of the world first. No, you still are Israel first. We're never going to start a new war, right? No, you just bombed Iran, started a new war where there's a ceasefire, but it might pick up again, very likely will, under this president or the next, under the clamor of Israeli propaganda. We're going to save money, $2 trillion in Doge projection savings. No, not that too. Republicans are completely complicit with bankrupting the country too. $38 trillion in debt. Bragging about the Pentagon's $1 trillion budget for the first time. Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump did that. All rank hypocrisy. They haven't brought into fruition their best campaign pledges, as they never do, always just keeping their worst ones.
And because of the filibuster, the 60-vote threshold, nothing can get passed. And it's uniparty control for forever. And that is seriously...
Are you in favor of abolishing it?
I told President Trump several months ago on a phone call that the senators, the Republicans, we have 53 seats in the Senate. 53. They can do anything they want if they abolish the filibuster. And let me tell you why. In 2022, the Democrats, Chuck Schumer led them to abolish the filibuster.
They tried to do it. You guys remember that? They tried to do it when they were in power.
To pass their Voting Rights Act, which, by the way, we would have never won another election if they had passed that. The only reason they didn't get through it was Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin. Guess what? Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin aren't there anymore, Megan. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter if we're like holier than thou and we don't abolish the filibuster. They're still going to do it when they get the opportunity. So I told the president several months ago, I said, President Trump, we can pass your full agenda if the Republicans in the Senate grow a spine, blow through the filibuster, and we pass election reform. I have a bill that calls for a census immediately, and it only counts American citizens. And
that shouldn't be controversial.
It should be done. And it redraws district lines all over the country with only American citizen count. You talk about doing something for America, that would save our elections.
All right, so in terms of the filibuster, I don't believe in abolishing the filibuster, and for good reason. It's seen as a check against majoritarian power in Congress. It's something the founders wanted us to have. They gave both houses of Congress the independent ability to create their own rule set, and that's where this comes from. The filibuster was used as early as 1806, and it was used to supplant what a lot of people thought was government tyranny. And they have the volition and the power under the Constitution to have that. Now, it is true that the House or the Senate could ban the filibuster, and, people will make various arguments for that. But I don't believe in that, no matter who's in power and who's not, because, again, it's a check against the majoritarian impulses on the government, in particular when they go astray, when they go to places that the American electorate doesn't want to go. And, I think that's a real check on power. Now, is it misused sometimes, used for the wrong reasons? Yeah. but the impetus is there for a good purpose. It's like saying, hey, a knife, you could cut someone to death with a knife, but it still has a purpose. I don't believe in banning it. As far as the census goes, I think that's a good idea. The Constitution only mandates it every 10 years, but if you do it more accurately, it would impact more races quicker, and you might get to the bottom of how many people are really here when you could only do it every 10 years or so.
There's so many bills so many good Republicans have. And if we would blow through that filibuster, we can literally save this country. But I don't think they're going to do it.
I don't think they have the votes right now.
No,
They
there's
definitely
about 20 Republicans that won't do it.
Yeah, and you're going to need all of them. Well, you're going
Yeah.
to need at least 50, and then J.D. Vance
Yep.
could break the tie. And speaking of J.D. Vance, he's America first. Would you say he's first in line for 48?
Let me tell you, I was the first member of Congress to endorse J.D. Vance when he ran for Senate. I was first, before Donald Trump.
Wow.
I endorsed him. I love J.D. I definitely think he's got a great shot. I hope so.
And who do you think he'd be running against?
Oh, and the Dems?
Do you think your friend Sandy Cortez?
Maybe. She might jump out there.
Could she do it? Are we underestimating her? Some people say we are.
Well, let me tell you, I don't have a lot of respect for AOC. Think about it. Would anybody in this country, and I don't know, maybe I'm underestimating her, she's never accomplished anything. She was a bartender, and then they made her a member of Congress. She had a massive machine behind her. She's never been married. She doesn't have children. She's never run a company.
Okay, all these reasons are really superficial and dumb, and I can't stand AOC, but these are about the worst plausible arguments I think you can raise against her. If I was Marjorie Taylor Greene and I wanted to drag AOC right now, I'd say, hey, she pretends to oppose the genocide in Israel and U.S. support for Israel, but she blocked my amendment to withhold $500 million in aid to Israel. So she's not America first, she's Israel first, despite even her stated aims. Not that she's not married or she was a bartender. I mean, that's insane. Like, that's a working person's profession. I don't believe in this line of reasoning. Say where she's wrong on the politics, not about her personal life. And I have no love for AOC, but she's clearly a charlatan on so many issues, including dumping heaps of billions into the coffers of Ukraine and supporting the Green New Deal, which would rob basic private property rights from Americans if it was put into fruition. You can attack her on those grounds, but this just seems foolhardy, and I love Marjorie Taylor Greene. I just don't think that's a good line of reasoning to attack. Now, J.D. Vance, total charlatan. I wouldn't say he's America first. I'd say he's Israel first. But I think he kind of has to be because he has presidential aspirations. And the filtration system for both major parties goes through whether or not, as a litmus test, you support the modern Israeli regime. And you double down on their propaganda. Israel has a right to exist. AIPAC's all great. Plus, he has close ties to Peter Thiel and Palantir, which is responsible for expanding the surveillance state unapologetically, getting into biometric scanning, and dystopian pre-crime schemes to try to create algorithms to prevent the possibility of future crimes. It's literally from the movie Minority Report. This is widely documented by people like Whitney Webb and the Free Thought Project that talk about this. He's a total charlatan. I don't want him either.
Like, is that someone that belongs in the White House?
She's just good at social media.
Yeah. I don't know.
Now, who
Would
if you
we
had
see-
to back one, would it be AOC or Jasmine Crockett?
Oh, my Lord.
You have to choose.
You know what? I'm a little concerned that we could see, like, Mom Donnie, maybe.
Oh, God. He wasn't born here. It can't be him.
Well, that's true.
You never know. Ted Cruz tried to run for president. He wasn't born here, too. It comes down to what you think is the basis of the meaning of natural-born citizens and in the Constitution, and that has been debated. It's never been litigated federally, but that is a question, what exactly that phrase means. And, you know, I'm a scholar of the Constitution, scholar of the founding, and there actually isn't much left to clarify. There's two basic theories of what that means. I won't get in deeply into that, but I talk a little bit about that in some of my articles that I've written on that subject in the past, going way back to like in the early 2010s. But in any case, AOC is a realistic possibility at this point for the Democrats. So is Gavin Newsom, and they're just so unliked by the right. But at the same time, there's not really that many scandals per se, outside of like, stuff like gossip about how she feared for her death on January 6th, even though she wasn't near the Capitol. I mean, near, I guess, is a ambiguous term, but she was across the street. And, Gavin Newsom has teams of them from California. Whitmer does too. But at the same time, those three might be viable candidates for the Democratic Party. But it does depend on whether or not they shift to a more populist leaning. Mamdani got elected in New York City, but could he get elected in America as an American presidential nominee? Perhaps so. People like Cenk Uygur, who argue for a more progressive path for the Democrats, a more populist progressive path, favoring people like Bernie Sanders, really think that that is the only viable route. I think there's some evidence to back that from 2016 when there was a Democratic civil war between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. But I think we need to see the 2026 elections, how those play out in the various states, to see as a test case what kind of candidates are winning out and who could secure this nomination. But what I'm pretty sure of right now is on both sides, they have to be a Zionist. And that's why you see no movement on J.D. Vance to counter this Israel first mentality, backing it to the core, to the T, no matter what. But I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is right. This presidential administration hasn't enacted the agenda it campaigned on. From the basic cornerstones of America First, when that is your basic cornerstone principle, that's your doctrine, that's the axiom on which you're running, and then you clearly favor the Israeli regime. Same with the Epstein case. We're going to bring transparency to that. Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino talked about that all the time in the run-up to their ascensions to power, respectively. And then it's like, no, the whole thing's a Democratic hoax. You're not my supporter if you want the answers to this. Why is everyone talking about Epstein? And it's boring. But we can't allow Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie to release the truth, even though there's nothing there. That's really what they're going on. It's duplicity, and we know Epstein was working for the Israeli government. Whether or not his operation in sex trafficking was a blackmail operation, there's no real smoking gun for that, but I'm sorry, all signs basically point to that, based on all his connections to Israeli, intelligence services, Amman, Ehud Barak staying at his home for prolonged periods, working with Adnan Khashoggi, who arranged the Israeli side of the Iran-Contra scandal, knowing Ari Ben-Menashe, who revealed that Epstein told him that this was a blackmail operation. All the other evidence that plays into it, being the protege of Robert Maxwell, Israel's most famous spy, and on again. There's so many things that connect him to Israel that we haven't gotten to the bottom of. She's a hero along with Thomas Massie for seeking the truth on those things, standing with the victims when the political establishment, even on the right, won't do that whatsoever. So I'm with her on that. Attacking AOC, it's a lot easier than the way in which she confronted it. Don't blame her for kind of wanting to lash out against AOC for saying a falsity if it was a falsity. But at the same point, there's a lot of other better angles you could attack AOC from. But I do want to hear from you. Was Marjorie Taylor Greene right about this? Is she based to call for, the actual truth regarding Epstein, despite defying the president's will to cover this up? Let me know in the comments down below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, also subscribe to Megyn Kelly. Thanks for this clip. Great interview. Don't always agree with Megyn, but great segment. Glad she had MTG on again. And also, if you like this video, please consider becoming a YouTube member. You can do that by clicking the join button below. You can help support my channel that way. I'll graciously appreciate that if you do. And as a return gift, I'll give you access to all my videos before they go live on my channel. Those are the members only videos. You'll be able to watch those right away if you support me. And also, if you want a free copy of my first book, Compact of the Republic, click the link in the description below. Shoot off to the site, plug in your email, I'll send that to you free of charge in PDF form, no obligation whatsoever. And until I see you guys next time, no more war, no more debt, no more inflation, and no more empire. Peace out, guys. Catch you in the next one.